All right, here we go. What's up, bro? How you doing?
Good, man.
Good to
Blessed.
see you again. So how you been, bro, since the last time I talked to you? What's been going on in your world?
Everything's been going good. Granny's been doing great.
Okay.
Mom, she's going through some stuff, but we still there, being by her side.
Right.
Stepfather, you see, he's sticking by her side, doing what he's supposed to do as a man.
Mm.
Little sister, she's moving along, still growing up. Just had a birthday, November 18th.
Okay.
Big 25. Still my little sister though, so I gotta be big brother. Gotta give it all the actual guidance and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But other than that, just maintaining, staying sober life.
Cool.
Just trying to one day at a time.
I know that's
One day
right.
at a
It's
time.
good to know everything all is well. It's interesting you mentioned your sister. I know we were just talking a few minutes ago about her making a move and that she's out in Reston, right?
Yeah.
And you shared, I believe, that she's working in Reston and works for the government.
Mm.
But it's interesting, something you said when we talked about it, and I was like, yeah, most people that work for the government, that's good money. It's something that you can retire from.
Yeah.
I think you made the comment, if she can stay off that dumbass, that young girl shit.
Yes.
Was pretty much what it was.
Yeah.
You want to elaborate a little bit on that, what you mean by
What I mean
your
by
concerns about being on some young girl shit? Or start out by telling me what's your definition of young, what that means to you,
I
or what
got
you meant by that.
the definition that I mean by young dumb stuff is when you get an opportunity and you take it for granted.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning that if you need to be at work at a certain time, be early. Don't be just showing up because if you're supposed to be there at 11 o'clock, you should be there at 10:50.
Mm-hmm.
Not no 11 o'clock on the dot, just making it through the door to give you time settled. Do all the basic stuff to prep for that day.
Right.
Now, if somebody of job of that caliber, if you want to keep it, you got to do some extra stuff to show that you're worthy.
Right.
Not just making it.
Right.
Like you need to show that you want to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Strive to keep it because you always can be replaced by somebody else that wanted more than you. So you got to learn first. You got to learn to love your job.
Right.
Once you learn to love your job is going to become like an extra, ordinary day. It could be one of the hardest jobs in the world, but if you love your job, it won't be hard.
True. Have you ever experienced that, like in your past? Like, are you speaking from? I guess what I'm saying is, are you speaking from past experience?
Yes.
Were you one of those types that used to do what you want to do, get there when you get there, and pretty much carry it how you want to carry it?
Yeah, I could say I had my fair share of times that I've done that at my old job downtown. It was like days I did come early, like a couple hours early.
Right.
Days I would come, like say about 15 minutes late. I felt though I made up for that 15 minutes late by coming in an hour early the previous day.
Yeah.
But they don't look at it that way. They look at it consistency. So once I got that down pat, then I was more of a better person and a better of an employee.
Right.
So
and what were some of the consequences, or did you suffer any consequences for kind of like in that regard for work, doing what you wanted to do? What were some of the consequences that you suffered, if any?
I suffered some consequences, but it's nothing long term. If anything, I would have to have a conversation with my supervisor. I mean, my supervisor was cool, so me and her would just sit there and she'd talk about how she had that problem when she first started.
Right.
And we just joked around, but it wasn't really no major consequences still until I started messing up on my behalf for doing other dumb stuff. Now, man, we going to get into all that, but yeah, that's another story. But yeah, I had
you're
my
more than
my
welcome to
fair.
share it if you want to. We can talk about that.
So we can talk about that's part two coming soon.
Right.
Yeah, we could definitely talk about that another time. But yeah, I had my fair shares. I know everybody has their fair shares of stories, but mine personally, I've done some dumb stuff on the job and everything. Nothing too major to where it would get me fired on the spot. It just things built up.
Tell me about not so much some examples of some dumb things that you did, but tell me. First off, let me double back. What I heard you say was, while the consequences weren't severe, something it was brought to your attention.
Yes.
And at some point, you did acknowledge, hey, I'm at fault, and you straightened it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got on top of your situation, became more responsible.
Right.
How did that make you feel when you made that choice, or rather, before that, how did it make you feel when they brought it to you? Did you what was going through your head, or what were your emotions then?
Now, when they brought it to me, by me being young, I thought they was trying to be on against me.
Right.
And stuff
Okay.
like that. Now that I'm old and I'm looking back at it, if I'd have handled the situation, they'd probably gain more respect from it because if I took the initiative to say I was wrong instead of like, man, why you worrying about me? Worrying about this other person.
Right.
That's not what they're looking for. They're looking for you taking responsibility. You taking being held to your own actions and stuff like that. So me being held of something that I did, they'd have took it a lot better if I'd have just owned up to it.
Right.
Me trying to put it on somebody else, or I'm telling them how to do their job, or about worrying about somebody else in them situation, that wasn't what they was looking for. So me doing that back then, the way I felt, like it was against me. They were just out just nitpicking.
That was your perception, that they were just on you,
Exactly.
picking at you, not letting you do what you wanted to do. You didn't really see where there should have been a consequence. You didn't really look at it as being that serious.
Right.
Is that probably kind of accurate? Is
Yeah.
what you were feeling back then? But
Yeah.
I also heard you say that, looking at it in retrospect, you see where you were wrong. And, you know, like you said, had you handled it different and been more mature about it, where you are now in your growth, then the outcome probably would have been more positive.
Right.
Right.
I'd have turned it into more of a learning experience.
Right.
Than an experience of me holding a grudge. And just once you go through something like that, something small,
Right.
learn from it. It'll help you out in the long run.
Facts.
Instead of keep going through the same thing over and over again, you're having the same outcome. Once you learn from it, you gotta go through it again. So it's like,
Well, let me ask you this, bro. I heard you say something about grudge, in the sense that back then, when they brought it to you, even however way it went, you addressed it, you held a grudge. First question, how long did you hold that grudge? And second, what were your feelings during the time that you held that grudge? Or like, what was your self-talk when you would engage with these people after the fact? How did you feel about it? Were you like, had animosity towards them? Were you able to still work with them and things go smoothly? Or, you know, what was going on with you when you had to deal with these people that had, for lack of a better description of how we would say, and keep in mind, we're in recovery now.
right.
But back then, when we weren't in recovery, having animosity towards them because they put you on blast, how did you feel about that?
I felt like it could have been handled as something differently because a lot of times my supervisor did it in front of people to show some kind of authority when it could have just been, y'all go to work and I'll talk to you alone.
Right.
I felt as though she could have handled it different, but at the same time, I could have just been different and just did what I was supposed to do, so I could have just avoided the whole situation.
Right.
Now, my animosity was of her tone, number one. Number two, it was just me coming to work still kind of tipsy. I didn't want to hear that shit.
Right. So basically, if I heard you correctly, you had resentments towards her. You didn't like the way that she presented it to you.
Yes.
In the sense of her tone.
Right.
However, way she brought it to you was kind of, you took it as disrespect
Yeah.
and resentful. And then on top of that, I heard you say that you would have preferred for that confrontation to be done in private as opposed to being brought up in front of other people.
Right.
And I'm quite sure that made you feel some type of way, feel like exposed maybe. And it's interesting that you speak on that because I was just talking or just experienced a situation similar to that where I brought it to the attention of a friend of mine. They wanted to present something to the public, so to speak, in an open forum. And I pulled them to the side and was like, look, it's best to go through management, let them address that situation as opposed to going and putting that person up in front of everybody. Because if you pull it up in front of people, automatically they're gonna jump on the defensive.
Right.
You know, the resentments are going to develop and be harbored for no telling how long. And it just makes for an uncomfortable environment. So I salute you for being able to first push through that
Right.
and be to the point where you are now. You know what I'm saying? It says a lot about your growth. And I definitely want to acknowledge that because I know you come a long way. Hell, we both have.
Right.
I know from experiences that I've had, being put on blast ain't no fun.
Yeah.
But at the same time, doing what we want to do and not having any respect for the structure that's set before us is there for a reason. And I have to adhere to that structure if I want to keep that position. Because it's always 2 or 3 people
Right.
sitting outside waiting to get that same job. And can probably come in there and do it just as good as us, if not better.
Right.
So it's to our advantage to hold on to the position and, you know, do it to the best of our ability, learn as much as we can, and keep doing it. And just like you, I mean, working here where we at, you know, I remember when you first started, you were not so much somebody that was just cleaning off tables, but I know that you didn't have anywhere near the responsibility that you have now.
Right. Right.
And we were going through the program together, and look at it now, bro. You graduate on staff, right?
Nah, almost.
You're not on staff, but you about to be on staff. And you
That's the
pretty
plan.
much running the kitchen. I know you. If you ain't first in command, you second or third. You call some shots in there.
Yeah.
And it's big to have that responsibility. So I'm definitely proud of you for handling the business,
Appreciate
man. And let me ask you, how does that make you feel to when you look back at the accomplishments that you've made since being in here for the past year in this program?
Makes me feel good. Makes me feel blessed. God brought me a long way, and I know if it wasn't for my family and prayer, I would not be here.
Right.
I would not have the guidance. I wouldn't have the energy to even try to come in here and do what I've done in these 17 months now. About to be 18 in 2 weeks.
Yep.
A year and a half.
Big.
It came a long way. I know I came out here resentful. Didn't want to listen to nobody. I didn't want to be a part of the program. Now, a year and a half later, I'm actually help running the kitchen, stuff like that. And yeah, it's a blessing. They actually picked me to put me in a position to where so I can help be a part of something big.
Right.
Not only just for me, to other people that's actually coming in here and started off where we both started off at. Just another black young man that needed some help and guidance and needed to find a way to stray away from addiction.
Right, right.
And now, a year later, you got your own thing going on, I got my thing going on, and we're still connected.
Facts.
We're
Facts.
still well connected.
And I think the wonderful part about it, bro, and like I heard you say, they gave you a chance. And like yourself, I'm definitely in agreement in the fact that when I came in here, I didn't want to come up in here. And even though I got with the program quick because I knew that I had no other options outside of going back into the wilderness and continuing to exist, a life of crime and substance addiction and things of that nature, I still had a lot of stuff that I had to get rid of. The resentments, the animosity, the doing what I wanted to do, trying to be slick, and how slowly over time the recovery process, I was open to embrace it, but when I really started seeing it work in my life and how multifaceted it is, and touches so many areas of my movements, and by that I mean how I think, how I react, how I process stuff, how things are interpreted, my whole way of looking at stuff, and just how I navigate through life, so different. Just because my thinking has changed, and were it not for this program, and for talking to brothers, talking to you like I'm talking to you now, brothers talk to me, and coach me and help me to see things that I wasn't really trying to see.
Right.
So I'm definitely thankful for being in here. Definitely glad to meet you too.
Same to you, man.
We've come a long way, bro. I seen you come a long way.
Yeah, man.
You come a long way. You wasn't never just really no wide open, wild dude, but you have polished up. I definitely can say that I've seen you polished up, and I appreciate that, and I definitely encourage you to keep doing what you're doing.
saying you as well, man. You as well.
What's up?
You as well.
I'm just taking it one day at a time, baby.
That's
You know what I'm
that's all
saying?
we can do.
Holding my mud and holding it in the road.
Most definitely.
Thank you for the time, brother. I
Anytime,
definitely appreciate it,
anytime.
man. For sure. Part 2. Okay, anyway, Chris, we were talking about your sister, and during the initial video that we did, I recall you sharing, one, your concern for your sister being young, having a very important job, working for the government that could really take her a long way. That's how the whole conversation between us started.
Right.
And, you know, this is something that could be like career impacting. Woman could retire off of this, as your mom did.
Right.
I also heard you share that you were concerned because she is young and apparently has demonstrated some behaviors that you did in your youth. Namely, you know, coming to work when she feel like it, or, you know, thinking that she can get away with certain things or go outside of the expectations and the rules that are set for a job. One, I want to commend you. Is that correct? What I just shared, what I shot back to you, is that that's pretty much what you were talking about?
Yeah, I was
right?
talking about that, but I'm gonna get one thing clear.
Okay.
She hasn't shown anything yet that she was going to be doing until having these behaviors.
Okay.
I just pray that she don't
You
start
pray. Okay, got you.
doing those
got
behaviors.
You, got you,
Because that's
got
how
you, got
I
you.
did.
Okay.
So
now got you. Okay. So with that being said, this is your sister, and let's just say this is a hypothetical. I ain't gonna put this bone on your sister,
Right.
but let's say she's kind of showing you some things, like she might be leaning that way. You know what I mean? First question I want to know is, how would you feel about that? Knowing your past and your experiences with it, tell me what your feelings would be to get that news.
my feelings would be that I would have to find some type of way to actually try to help her realize something that I've done already. And I'm not trying to tell her, trying to let her know to be trying to boss her around, stuff like that. I'm trying to tell her because I love you.
Right.
I don't want you to go down that same path that I did. I've been there, done that.
Right.
So please take heed of what I'm saying.
Right.
Not to try and say that I'm better than you. I've lived longer than you.
Right.
I just don't want you to go down that road.
Right.
Because what's the point? If you have guidance on how to do something, why not take heed to those steps?
Right.
So you could be great.
Right. So is it safe to say that your feelings would be that of genuine concern?
Yes.
You would want to approach your sister and bring it to her before it even went in a direction further than what it is, or went further along in the direction or the path that it's on. So I'm hearing you say genuine concern, and also that you, out of that concern, you want to communicate to her from your past experiences the consequences that could be down the line if this behavior is demonstrated, but that you want to do it in a respectful way.
Exactly.
A way that's not taken as if you're trying to order her around by you being the oldest brother, but you want to give it to her in the sense of, hey, look, I love you, I've walked this path, let me pull your coat to what may lay ahead if you continue to go down this route. Is that correct?
Exactly.
And how would that make you feel about doing that? If she's, first off, how would it make you feel if she was not receptive? If she didn't want to hear it, or if she bucked and was like, boy, whatever, ain't nobody trying to hear that. How you gonna tell me?
It would make me feel like I would be a little disappointed because I don't want the worst for her. I want her to realize I just want what's best. And I know at times we might have had our disputes in the past, stuff like that. She thought she was right. I thought I was right, and we never really got around to like discuss what the bigger issue is and things like that. But she just got to realize if I'm doing it out of concern,
right,
just take it as that.
Right,
Don't take it as nothing more. Don't take it as nothing. As I'm a big brother. Stuff. Just take it what it is. I'm concerned. You need to try to listen. I'm quite sure if I seen it, our mother saw it, our grandmother saw it, her father probably seen it.
Right.
If everybody's telling you the same thing, just take heed to it.
Take
Because you know
heed
when they
to
get
it,
to that
right.
age, they feeling themselves, especially when they get this
Yeah,
high
young
end job,
adulthood, young
and they
adulthood,
get
and
their
seeing
first
such
couple of
success.
checks and stuff.
Right.
They feel like they untouchable, and they moved out for the first time.
Right.
They can't tell them nothing. They got their own spot, own vehicle, own job, own life to start.
Well, let me ask you this. You know your sister better than I do. I've never had the pleasure of meeting her. What is your honest belief her reaction would be? And again, this is a hypothetical that this is happening. This is not actual truth. But again, you knowing your sister the way that you know her, and the responsibilities, these accomplishments, even taking into consideration the head bumping, the sibling rivalry, so to speak, differences of opinion. What is your honest belief on how your sister would take you coming to her, expressing a concern like that? Do you believe that she would be receptive?
I think if it was the right time, right moment, she would be more receptive.
Okay.
If it's not the right time, she will brush me off.
Okay.
And it is up to me if I would get an attitude after that or not. Because if I'm coming with good intentions and then you try and brush me off like
Right.
I'm full of bull BS, then I might feel some type of way. But
Right.
that's why I'm here to not be that way. So if I do come at her and she's not receptive, I'm just like, maybe it's not the time. I just gotta realize, step back, regroup, come back another time.
I like that.
When I feel as though she's more receptive.
Right.
So I can get what I'm saying across to her in a more and better positive way. She can receive it how she needs to receive it and show that she learned and put it into her actions.
Right. So what I'm hearing you say is again, it would be based on when the time is right.
Yeah.
And if you by chance happen to approach her at a time that wasn't convenient or wasn't a good moment for her, you would respect that, fall back, and readdress it at another time, or ask, when can we come back to this and talk about it?
Right.
And discuss it responsibly as mature adults. You share your side, hope that she is willing to take it, and y'all have a conversation, engage back and forth, sharing opinions, your take on it, and most of all, your genuine concern, and that being the primary reason why you're doing this, right? Some good shit, bro. That's some big boy shit, homie.
Gotta grow up sometimes.
Yeah, man. That's big. I mean, and what I really like about it is the fact, is the sibling dynamic. Me, I'm an only child. But throughout my life, I always gravitated towards older persons that I looked up as my big brothers.
Right.
And when I look at it over the years, I've dealt with situations, I've experienced different ways of that information being presented to me. Sometimes it was my big homies blowing on me. Yo, man, like really coming down aggressive, but I guess we would call it tough love back then.
Right.
Even my father did it when he would correct me. I would always take it as chastisement, and sometimes it was because he didn't know how to communicate. And that's the key piece out of this whole thing that we having is knowing what way to communicate. You know what I'm saying? Being assertive and respectful in it, as opposed to just trying to be dominant. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've also had the opportunity to be treated with respect and have people come to me, hey man, look, let me holler at you for a minute. This is what I'm seeing, this is what's going on. There's been times where it's been everyday life, there's been times where I've gotten in hot water at work. It runs the gamut. It's gonna always happen throughout a person's life. But again, the main thing is communication and knowing how to get there. And I appreciate the fact that you see that and that you have a plan for how to address it and prepared for whatever the outcome of the reaction may be. That's really big, you know what I'm saying? Especially for us in recovery, because something like that, especially dealing with a loved one, it could set us off. It could be a trigger for us.
Right.
you know, you coming from a good place trying to share something about, hey, look, this might take you down the wrong path. You coming from a sincere place, but it's rejected. That could make you possibly feel bad, angry, upset, and you go back to the bottom, or me go back to the bag. But thankfully that we have this thing in our lives called recovery that we're practicing every day, using it to evaluate everything that we do, from talking to a loved one about a concern to, you know, chatting to each other when we haven't seen each other in a while, and asking questions to know where we at and what's going on and how we can help. That communication piece is big, bro.
Yeah,
And I
definitely.
really appreciate that. I again, like I said before, I see the growth in you, and you know, you just doing that and sharing that. That just confirms what I've already known about you from our times building, that you on the right path. You using that peanut up there. You know what I'm saying? Instead of just letting it be mush peanut butter.
Almost definitely.
That's what's up, man. Good luck.